Chapter 8, Quantities in Chemical Reactions. I forget what's in section 8.1. It's just kind of fluffy stuff, I think, so I'm not covering that. We're going to talk about making pancakes. I hope you guys had breakfast. This chapter is about something called stoichiometry. And this has to do with numerical relationships between chemical quantities in a chemical reaction. So that's like a bunch of big words. What does that mean? It means a chemical reaction is going to occur. We want to know, well, if I start with 5 grams of this, how many grams of that am I going to end up with? It's answering questions like that. So we can predict the amounts of products based on the amounts of reactions. And this is a big deal in chemistry. Stoichiometry is one of the important topics. So we're first going to talk about recipes, because recipes are a lot like chemical equations. So the recipe gives us numerical relationships between the ingredients, the reactants, and here we're making pancakes, the number of pancakes, how much product you make. We all understand that, if you only have 1 egg, you're not going to be able to make 5 dozen pancakes, right? This is not going to happen. You run out of stuff. So here's a very simple recipe. Don't try this at home because it's not going to make successful pancakes, but it's good enough for what we're talking about here. 1 cup of flour, 2 eggs, and half a teaspoon of baking powder to make 5 pancakes. And here we have it in pictures, okay? We all grasp what that means. But we can make a chemical equation out of this recipe. It's like, great, you're taking all the fun out of cooking. Yeah, relate chemistry to anything. So if we have 2 eggs and enough of everything else, we can make 5 pancakes, right? So we can write that as a ratio. For every 2 eggs, we can make 5 pancakes. And that ratio can also be written as a conversion factor. 2 eggs per 5 pancakes. Now, does that mean that 2 eggs are the same as 5 pancakes? No. But it means in this recipe, if I have 2 pancakes, no. If I have 2 eggs, I could make 5 pancakes if I have the other stuff. It also means that if I want to make 5 pancakes, I'm going to need 2 eggs, right? So we take the numerical relationships in this equation and we can make conversion factors. So what if we have 8 eggs? How many pancakes can we make? 20, okay? So you can do that math in your head. But we need to learn how to write it down, because when I ask you how many grams of hydrogen can you make from 20 grams of water, you're not going to be able to do that one in your head. So even though you can do this without writing it down, we need to learn how to do that. This comes down to dimensional analysis. So we've got 8 eggs, and we want number of pancakes. So our path is 8 eggs to pancakes. So we start with 8 eggs. There's 1 arrow. We've got 1 conversion factor. Pancakes go on top. Eggs go on bottom. And the unit eggs will cancel out. This relationship between pancakes and eggs comes from our recipe, our equation for making pancakes. There are 2 eggs needed for every 5 pancakes. So I am literally taking this 2 eggs and putting that in the denominator, and 5 pancakes and putting that in the numerator. 8 times 5 divided by 2, 20 pancakes. That's what you did in your head. Any questions?